Alright everyone, welcome to this new video I'll be making for Xiao's basically everything is from his talents to what weapons you should be getting. And let's see, from the very start we know that he's gonna come with his own weapon, and we all know what that weapon is. If we look around stats, it gives crit rate, which is superb, and the passive it has is absolutely broken. So without delaying this is actually a superior tier because that weapon is super strong for him. If you have that weapon right now, you're super lucky, or if you don't have him, then don't worry about it. It's not the end. There are decent weapons for him as well without the 5 stars. Now let's see. The second weapon we'll be talking about is this one. This weapon is a very good weapon as well, as we can see right here. It gives energy recharge, which he needs, because without using his E, he doesn't get any energy back. So, and his passive, the passive of this weapon is really good. Like, it gives you crit rate and attack speed, so you're gonna be doing more damage faster, which every spear user needs. So this spear is also gonna be a superior tier. So let's go and put that up right there. I did that already. So about the last 5-star that is in the game right now, we're gonna talk about Staff of Homa a bit later. It's not in the game yet. This is the third one. So this is a bit difficult though. You actually need a Geo character with you always, so to use his passive, if I'm not incorrect on that. Let's see. It gives you more damage if you have a shield on you. Yeah, increases strength, shield strength, which is he doesn't make any shields, so basically making that useless. But let's see, increases attack by 4% for 8 seconds, max 5 stack, only occurs while protected at PGC. That increase effect is increased by 100%, so while protected by a shield. So you need a Geo character with you to utilize this weapon's passive at its full potential. But even if you don't use it, the base stats are really nice on this weapon. So if you have this, you can also use this as a very good weapon. So it's probably an superior tier. Now the Staff of Homa. As you can see right here, I've opened this up. Gives crit damage, which is really good, and it has the max crit damage in the game if it comes out when it comes out. But the passive, it's rather interesting, I would say. Not the strongest passive out of all the 5 stars, but it's decent. So with that requirement, as we see, it's gonna be an A tier because the passive, this 3 has way better passive than this one, but it's all around it's a very, very good one. Now let's talk about the 4 stars. Let's talk about the lithic spear we will be getting. Let's see the stats for this weapon first. There it is. So the lithic spear, it's an interesting choice because your charge attack will be dealing a lot of damage, but it gives you physical damage bonus. As we all know that when you press Xiao's Q or ultimate, all the damage you do converts into anemo. So that stat, physical damage bonus, it becomes useless after you press the Q. So there are workarounds. You just can't press Q if you use this weapon on him, but it's not that bad of a weapon. The passive is alright. So I'm gonna keep this weapon as a B because physical damage is not the go-to for Xiao. Let's talk about the Favonius Lens. This weapon, for me, it's my personal choice. It's actually dumpster fire because if you look at the things it gives you, it's energy recharge, which you do need, but here's the thing. It just gives you energy charge. The passive also gives you energy, and the thing is, you need more damage, crit rate, crit damage, attack percentage, that stuff to make your damage go more higher. But this doesn't provide you no damage. And for a 4-star, there are very better 4-stars out there. So this one, for me, it's not good at all for Xiao. Now let's talk about Black Cliff. Now, Black Cliff personally is an A, because this weapon does wonders, like actually does wonders. The passive this weapon provides is probably the best when fighting a lot of mobs. Not that good when you're fighting a boss, but even if you don't have the effect at maximum stacks, it still gives you pretty good crit damage, which you need for Xiao. And as a 4-star, it gives you a lot of crit damage. I believe if you max it out, it gives you 55%, which is really good. You really need that for Xiao, because if you level Xiao up, you'll be getting crit rate. So all he requires is crit damage, and the weapon provides. So it's going to be an A tier for me. Now let's talk about the Black Tussle. I'm pronouncing that name right. The Black Tussle, yeah. The weapon itself, it's useless, to be honest. It's gonna be a dumpster fire because first of all, it gives you HP, which Xiao doesn't need at all. And then the passive itself increased damage against slimes by 40%, which is like, bruh, what? So it's gonna be a dumpster fire for me as well. And now let's talk about Crescent Pike. Crescent Pike here has potential. I would say it has potential because of the passive it provides. But the thing with Crescent Pike is, again, it gives you physical damage bonus, which is really not required for Xiao if you're not, going for the plunge attack damage bonus. When you press Q, the physical damage becomes useless, to be honest, because all damage you do becomes anemo after you press Q. But the passive is really good. The passive is pretty decent. So I would keep it at C. Now I'll keep it at B because, yeah, the passive is really good, but it's physical, So now let's talk about Death March. Now this weapon is not free to play. You actually have to buy the battle pass to get this weapon. But this weapon's passive and what it provides, the second stat, is really good. Like, it gives you crit damage, and the passive alone is really good because if you're facing 2 opponents nearby, the attack is increased by 16%. But if you're facing one opponent, basically bosses, the attacks will be increased by 24%, which is really good. Oh, sorry, but it gives you crit rate. Passive itself alone is really good, and it gives you crit rate, one of the rarest stats you can get on a staff. So if you're not free to play, if you buy the battle pass, you can actually go for this. This is a really good weapon for him, so I'm gonna keep that at A tier. Let's talk about Dragon's Bane. This weapon itself is made for support tiers, support spear users. Xiao, as we all know, is a DPS. He focuses on DPS alone. So this weapon, for me, the passive is actually rather useless because he uses anemo, but you have to, team comp it to actually increase the damage by using the passive. But when you use swirl, the hydro and pyro effect gets removed, so you have to reapply them again, which is going to be a hassle while using Xiao. So for me personally, it's going to be a C. It's all right. It's all right. It gets the job done. If you have no other spears, then I guess you can use it. But if you have any other spears above this tiers, just don't use Dragon's Bane. Now the new weapon, not new, I would say it came with the new map. Let's see. Now this weapon, Dragon Spine Spear, it's how do I put this? The passive, if you're not, if the user is not a cryo user, the passive is rather meh. To be honest, it gives you 60% damage. If it's a normal hitting, if it's cones, it makes a cone AoE damage dealing type thing. Yeah, Everfrost Icicle above them, dealing 80% AoE attack damage. But if the user is a cryo, it deals 200% attack damage, which is really good. But Xiao, as we all know, is an animal user, so the passive becomes rather useless. And the next thing is the second status it gives, state type, is physical damage, which again we talked about with the Crescent Pike and Lithic Spear. It's alright, but you need better stats for Xiao, to be honest. Just because the passive is so bad on Dragon Spine Spear, which is if you don't have a cryo user like Chongyun or Kea, it's rather like using just a bad version of the Crescent Pike. So it's gonna be a C for me, this weapon. All of the weapons, not just this Dragon Spine, all the Dragon Spine weapons are C tier, to be honest, because of the passive, because there is no cryo user for now. Unless we get a Rosaria, which we'll talk about later. Now let's talk about the Halberd. Let's see what the Halberd provides us. The Halberd, it's a 3-star weapon. So if you are only level 70 and the enemies around you are level 70, then you can use 3-star weapons. But if you're above 70 and the enemies are also above 70, I would say to not use 3-star weapons, because you get more benefits from using a 4-star weapon when you're higher level and higher AR level. The passive on it is really good, and it gives you attack percentage, which is also really good for a Xiao. But you have to keep that in mind that it's a 3-star weapon, so the values will be lower than a 4-star weapon. So with that in mind, this is gonna be C at best. Yeah, this is gonna be C at best, because that's all there is to this weapon. Now let's talk about product Star Glitter, which is a new name it got. Product Star Glitter, there it is. Product Star Glitter. The thing with Prototype Star Glitter is this weapon is rather useless when it comes to second stat, because it provides you energy recharge, which you don't need if you have a battery in your team. Example is Sucrose or Venti. You can use them as batteries if you need. So the Prototype Star Glitter's energy recharge is not the required thing Xiao needs, but the passive, it's alright. The passive increases your normal and charge attack by 8%, and it stacks up to 2 times. So you get a total of amount of 16%, which is really good. But the energy recharge is not required, to be honest. So for me, this weapon is also gonna be a C tier. And now let's talk about the Royal Spear, or it's Favonia Spear. Why do I call it the Royal Spear? Oh, it is the Royal Spear. Sorry about that. So let's talk about this weapon. It gives you attack percentage, which is really good, and the passive, it's all right. But the most annoying thing about this passive is a crit hit will remove all the existing stacks. So if you get like 4 stacks and you're about to hit that 5 stack for that max damage, suddenly your RNG is kind of bad and you crit and it removes all the stacks and you have to start all over again. So that is kind of BS when it comes to the passive, but it gives you attack percentage, so it's alright, you can say. And the passive is alright as well. So you can, I can give it in a B tier. Yeah, you can stay at a B tier. Now the White Tussle. It's also a 3-star. Keep that in mind, guys. But for a 3-star, it gives very useful stats such as crit rate, and it increases your normal attack damage by 24%, which is really good as well. So, but at the end of the day, it's a 3-star, so I cannot actually give it more than C tier because it's a 3-star, and that's about it. We have this is basically my personal tier for all the weapons Xiao has upon his disposal. So I would say out of all these peers, if you have what do you call it, these resources, let me go in the game and show you guys real quick. What are these? Star glitters, yes. If you have like lying star glitters on your account and you are going for Xiao, try to get the black cliff ball, please, because this weapon for free-to-play players are gonna be the best weapons, because it's a 4-star and it gives you crit damage. The passive is really nice. So if you are a free-to-play player and you have lying like star glitters that you don't know what to do for, and you want to go for Xiao, if you're saving up for him, then I would say Black Cliff Roll is the best choice. And if you're not a free-to-play player, then you just can buy the weapon that what do you call it? The wish. The battle pass? Yeah, the battle pass gives you this one. Yeah, the death march. You can buy this if you're not a free-to-play player, and this works wonders for Xiao as well. So these two weapons are the best for when it comes to 4 stars. Yeah, these two weapons. And when it comes to the 5 stars, you can go for his main weapon, because it's made for him. It's going to be the best for him. And if you have any one of the others 5 stars, you can just use it on him, because those are better and it will give you more stats because it's a 5-star weapon. And that's about it. When it comes to weapons, now we're going to talk about his talent books. Yes. Now he requires this talent books. Let's see. Let's scroll down a bit. He requires, Guild of Prosperity, this talent books. And when can you get those? It gives on Monday, Thursday, and Sunday. So keep that in mind when you are gonna go for his talents. Try to farm this up as much as possible before he comes out. So you can use your resin on this, and then his talents are pretty interesting, to be honest. So we know that his talents, well, basically his main kit is to plunge attack. So when it comes to that, we need his plunge damage to be the max at first, so that we can make his Q plunge damage the maximum we can get. So with that in mind, we need his autos to be a level 10 at first. We need his autos to be level 10 without a thought, because we need his autos, normal attacks, to be at 10, because as we can see here, this is an example that plunge damage. Here you can see there's a ratio of high plunge damage and low plunge damage. It's quite a lot. So we need this at 10 to maximize his plunge damage, and then we need to maximize his ulti or Q, because that will decrease the amount of HP he consumes per second. So that will be also helpful, because if you're not careful with his HP, he might just die because you weren't careful with his HP. And he's DPS dealer, so he's not going to be a tank. So you need a battery and a healer in your team to make him very useful. Example, you can say is Barbara. She's really good at healing, and Xiao can also utilize Venti, Sucrose as batteries. And another healer can be for him is Diona. You can use Diona's ulti and then switch back to him so that he doesn't lose as much HP. Or you can use if you have a 5-star Jean, you can also use her as healing. And that's about it, to be honest, when it comes to his talents and what weapons you should be using. But the most important thing when it comes to Xiao is he's really demanding. So you guys have to keep in mind that he needs everything. He needs a very good comp. The and a very good weapon to make him do tons of damage. So keep that in mind. So the perfect comp I would say for him is you need a battery and a healer with him always. So a battery could be a Sucrose or Venti because they are Anemo users. They will also give him a passive, which is really useful. The passive is, I'll show you right here, Elemental Resonance. And if you scroll down, you'll see that right here. If you have two Anemo users, it decreases the stamina consumption by 15%, increases movement speed by 10%, and shortens skill CD, which is his E, the dash he does, shorten skill by 5%, which is really useful. You need this. Like if you have two Anemo users, you should be using this because it's gonna further increases more damage, and you can use your dash more further often. So if you need the best comp would be using Sucrose with him, then a healer, basically Barba, Diona, Jean, or yeah, those are the three you can use with him. Or you can use Albedo if you have Albedo, because Albedo also increases your auto attack damage. And here's the case with Albedo: if you have C4 on him, he actually increases your blunt damage. So if anybody out there has an Albedo C4, you can use him as well in the team, which will further increases his blunt damage by a lot. So you can go ham with the blunt damages, and that's it for his team comps, to be honest. Because he's Anemo, he'll just swirl with any reaction you give, and that swirl will actually do more damage, but also remove the affected element you're using on the opponents. So keep that in mind. So if you wanna keep on using elements and then using swirl, I would say Xiangling is a good option because she is the best prio element user, you can say. She will just keep on using her E and ulti, and then you can switch back to Xiao to keep on using swirl and doing more damage overall. And that's about it when it comes to his team comps. Now the artifacts, let's talk about the artifacts you can use on him. I would say personally I would be using Gladiator 4-piece, just because as you can see the 4-piece gives him a lot of 35% more increased damage if the user is a polearm, claymore, or a sword user. So as we all know, Xiao is a polearm user, so that will be increasing his normal attack damage by 35%, which is really good. And the 2-piece is also really good on Gladiator. I'll be using that on him. If I get even better stats on other things, I might use it. And this is another option if you want to increase his swirl damage and Anemo damage. You can go for the 4-piece set, or you can even 2-piece set of this and then 2-piece set of Gladiator. You can do that as well. That's not a bad option. But overall, if you have good 4-piece Gladiator set, you should be using that because that's just really good for him. And if you don't have very good 4-piece Gladiators, you can just use Vendor 2-piece or even 4-piece if you want to go that way. It's your build, you can do whatever you want. And there's another so you can even support him by using support characters such as Bennett and use 4-piece Noblesse on that character, and then that character will be using, after you use the elemental burst, which is Bennett's Q, his attack will be increased by 20% for 12 seconds. So that can also help Xiao in a lot of ways whenever you are using him. And the 2-piece will also be very useful for Xiao. So you can use that as well. Keep that in mind that the artifacts stats are really RNG. So if you get lucky, that's really good for Xiao. And if you don't get lucky, just use 4-piece Gladiator set, because the 4-piece gives you really good stats. And that's about it. Those are all the things you need to know about Xiao. And guys, if you liked what I have described for you, please leave a like and subscribe to this channel. It really will help me a lot, and I'll be making a very big opening for him, because as you all know, I'm also a free-to-play player. I'm just saving up for Xiao, just like everyone else. So whenever he drops, I'll be going all ham on him. Hopefully I get C1 at hopefully, if I'm lucky, I might get C1. And then we'll be making a showcase of how to use all the things required for him. Oh, and I also bought the weapon for him, the Black Cliff. I'll also be leveling it up to 80 or 90 depending on how much crit damage this gives. And that's it, guys. If you like what you have seen, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. I'll be uploading more videos soon, and thank you for watching.
As laat er een spoor